Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you.
Here we have talked about the basics of the AMPscript, in which we learn that how we can, declare a variable, how we can set the value to a variable. This is how we create a variable. Let's say if you write this way, let's say we're at the red, let's say new variable. This is how you create a new variable, right? I mean, you can give any name, let's say A, B, C or any name, right? Now, how you assign the value to a variable? This is how you assign the value to a variable. Assigning the value to a variable, we will be using it, in each and every, at various places in the program, right? And wherever we want to store the value in the variable, and we might want to use that value later on in the program. Now, after that, we learned that function about the functions. The functions are very simple, right? We don't have to complicate this. And the functions basically will take some input. Like function has some name based on what functionality that we want to perform. Let's say you are driving a car, right? In car, we have lots of functions. We can turn on the AC, we can turn off the AC, maybe we can increase the fan speed, right? There are different functions that are given to us, right? In a TV remote, there are a lot of functions that are given to us, right? Maybe in mobile phone, we have a lot of functions, right? If you want to switch on your mobile, if you want to switch off, if you want to go to any app, right? We have what we are doing. We are using functions, right? Now every function will take some input, will require some input, and the input will be processed and then it will return the output, right? We have the functions related to the data extension. We have lookup, we have LookupRows, LookupRows says, lookup ordered rows. These are the functions that will take some input, and based on the functionality of this function, it will return some output, right? That's what we had looked at. Here we have lots of functions. We had looked at lookup function, LookupRows function. Now every function will return something, right? Now whatever it will return, we want to store in a variable that we can use that variable maybe later in the program. Let's say we want to retrieve the rows from the data extension. What we will do? We will use this function. Now this function will return something. We will store this in a variable. Now whatever we have stored in this variable, we are going to use that as an input in any other function. Row is another function where we will be using this, as an input, and then it will return something. We will store this in a variable. Now again, we will be using another function. It will return something. We will store this in a different variable. And then we are using another function, vfunction, to display the value of this variable on the email message, right? This is how we work. Send it out in this. You're welcome. Although we have around 120 functions in the AMPscript, but all are not, super necessary. Data extension functions are the more frequent function that we generally use in the program, like in our day-to-day work or in email messages also. we'll be going through a few more commonly used functions. We have a list of functions over here. You can go through some of the functions that we are not covering, and then you can ask if you guys face any issues. This function we are going to talk about now. This function called now function. Now function will return the current date and time. This is a simple function. It doesn't take any input. Let's say if you will run like this, then also it will work. If you will pass 1, then also it works the same way. I mean, there's a very minor difference. If you will pass 1 as an attribute or as an input, it will return the date and time when the email was sent. Whenever you are sending the email, at what time the email was sent, it will basically capture that it will return that date and time. For now, let's keep it simple. We have the now function and it will return the date and time like current date and time. And then we are storing this date and time in this variable. And then here we are displaying it. Now we have one more function, that is format date. Format date function is used to format the date. Now, let's say we want to generate this monthly bill and we want to send this to customers. Now in the monthly bill email, we want to have the date from this date to this date, that this is the bill. Let's say we want for the subscription we want to send that the subscription is started. Let's say at maybe let's say 20th of January. And this will end at let's say 19th of February. We want to send the bill that from this date to this date. This is the bill for subscription. Now for the customers from the different countries. They have a different date format, right? Let's say for us, the way that we read the date it is DDMYY, right? We read the day first and then month and then year. But for the US customers, they do not read the date like that. They read the month first and then day and then year, right? What we can do? We can format the date based on or maybe whatever the format or whatever the pattern that we want to convert into, right? Let's do one thing. Let's see the preview and then it will explain you the functionality. Here we can see still here. This is the output of the first function, now function. It is detaining the date in this format 2/4/2023. This is the server time. The server where this Marketing Cloud application is running. That 2/4/223/957. Now what we want to do, let's say you have any date, maybe you have the date stored in a date extension or you have any date and you want to format into a different format. I want to format the state or convert the state into a different format. That is my DDMinfi5, right? How do I do that? For each date part, we have the specifiers. Now the list of the specifiers like it is available on the internet as well. Also, you can get it on through the Salesforce official documentation. Here we have DD which stands for day and then capital MM which is for month and then year, right? And then if you want to have, let's say maybe a /, you can put /. If you want to have hyphen, you can put hyphen over here. It will take 2 parameters. The first one would be the date that we want to format and the second is the pattern in which we want to convert the date. That's how we can forget the date. After that, there are some string functions. These are very easy one. These are similar to the Excel functions also, like concat functions. A concat function will combine two different strings. Let's say if you want to combine dear with this variable. This variable contains first name. What it will return? It will return dear and whatever is the name of the first name of the customer. I think we don't have the first name field. We have the name field, right? I'll change it to name. And then we will do the preview and test. As we can see, dear say right. Dear test right. This is how we can combine two different strings. Just a second. This is how we can combine two different strings. This is how we can combine two different strings. This is how we can use the concat function. And then we have the index of functions. Index of function will tell you the position of the given string. Let's say you are searching for the space in the given string. It will tell you 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. What is the position of the space? Here we can add the space. The space is located in the given string. It will give you the position. The length will tell you the number of characters in the string. If you have lowercase, it will convert the string into lowercase, uppercase, propercase. These are the functions. This is one more function. This one is important. Cloud pages all. Many times what happens is, let's say we are building our, a custom preference center page. We have one default preference center page where the customer will go and it is maintained by, Salesforce. Like it is default. We don't have to do anything in that. But let's say if you are customizing a preference center page, if you are creating the preference center page using the cloud page, what we need to do, let's say whenever they click on the unsubscribe link, we will redirect them to the cloud page. Right. Apart from that, we have to send the details of the subscriber who is subscribing from this email message, like subscriber key or first name, that we can personalize the cloud page and things like that. How do we do that? There is one function that is called cloud pages. URL. Let's open the cloud pages. Let's go to cloud page. You have to continue. Thank you. Thank you. Let's create a new landing page. we'll create one landing page. Let's give it our name. Let's refer Central Beach. You can save. In the code view, let's delete all this code. Now what's going to happen? We have this cloud page is your function, and here we have to pass the page head. First of all, let's check what is the page head. Let's click on continue, and for that you have to go to the settings. We have to go to settings, and then here you will find the page head. Let me copy this double 25571 and I'll paste it over here. That is the first thing. Apart from that, let's say if you want to pass any other subscriber attribute that we can pass, let's say you like. Whenever we pass the attributes like, it will always be in the pair like attribute name and attribute value. We want to pass the first name of the subscriber and what is the value of the first name. Here we are passing, let's say, name that the value of this will come from the date extension, right? That's what we are going to do. Now what will happen? Whenever the subscriber will click on this link, like what we are doing, we are using the anchor tag and we are using this as a ref. Whenever the user will click on this, it will be redirecting the user to the cloud page, to this cloud page. Now, along with that, it will also pass this data like what is the first name of the customer, but that would be in the encoded format. Like it will not be, in the plain text, right? It would be in the encoded format. The user will not be able to understand that. What exactly is the data that is being passed now on the cloud page? What we need to do? That whatever the data that we are passing from here, we have to extract the data from there. Let's go one by one. Let me do one thing. Let me just publish this page first that it is available. Let's publish this page. Now it is published. Now let me do a preview. This is our login to portal. I'll click on this one and what it will do, like it has redirected me to this page, right? This one only like a Maasga, right? This is the same page and here we have queues is equals to this. This is my query string which contains the first of the customer side, right? What I said that the data that we are passing from here that will be in the, in the encoded format, in the encrypted format. This is my query string which contains all the data that is being passed. Now what we need to do on the cloud page side, I have to use some function that I can retrieve the encrypted data from this query string. How would I do that? Let me delete all this. I'll write AMPscript only over here. In AMPscript, there is one function that is called query parameter. And this function will basically take the one parameter, that is the attribute that you're passing from here. What is the attribute that we are passing? We are passing with the name is first name, right? We just have to copy it from here and then we have to paste it over here. This is what that I want to retrieve now, what it will return. It will return the value that is saved against this first name. It will return basically the first name of the customer. Here I can see, let's say set at the rate of first name is equals to this right now. After that, what we can do, we can use output v function and we'll print this thing. Now I'll just save the changes. Click on Publish Now. Now again, I can also refresh this one. Let me click again. Maybe the changes are not published yet, and that's fine. Let's click this again. Let's click this again. It should display the name of the customer. Actually, let's refresh this again. Let's refresh this again. Sometimes it takes more time too. We'll wait for a while. I think the changes are not reflecting on the cloud page. Yes, if you don't know between sys, like how we write just timing and atom, how we mix up with JavaScript, we'll write chess within HTML. No. You have showed that. A tag at flag for no will be keeping a button in that. When we click it will redirect into the other page dynamically, like how we write JavaScript in style both together. Here we are not writing any JavaScript. Here we are just writing basic HTML only. No, if you see this thing, this one right, that is scripting. That is your HTML. Only right. Anchor tag is HTML, hef is your HTML, and what we can do, like inside the HTML, we can also write the AMPscript. Here you see, this is the inline AMPscript, right? Inline AMPscript. You can write which is used to execute only a single function. Just we can use style tag and you can write it over. You can here use the style attribute as well, not the style tag, but here you can use the style and you can style this anchor tag. Or if you want to apply the styling to the entire HTML, and if you have the HTML, a block or maybe HTML elements, and you want to apply the DCs on that, and you can write the style tag and everything. But if you want to apply the styling to a particular element, then you can use the style attribute and you can apply the styling like that. Let's see if it is running now. Not now, it's working. As you can see, whenever we will go to pregnant test, and if I click on login to portal, it will display the first name of the customer, right, which will generally build a demo. In our case, let's say if somebody has, let's say TestZio 3, we'll click on this link. It will show TestZio 3. Now, this is just the name, but we can also pass the subscriber key, email address and things like that, right? And then we can see that, now let's see if you are creating this. Profile center page, custom profile center page using which the customer can update their profile attributes, or maybe like, their first name, last name, things like that. Whatever the information that we are storing over here, we can pass it through this function and we can display it over here. That this is the information that we have currently in this state extension. Now, whatever the updates that they will be making, we can basically make the same changes in the date extension. Then we have some mathematical function like some divide, subtract. If you want to add two numbers, you can use the add function, and then you have to pass two numbers like 2 and 4, and it will give you the sum. Next we have is this one is important, that is razor function. What is the razor function? Is that let's say there are some scenarios where we don't want the email to be sent. Let's say, whenever we're building the email, the intention is to send the email only, right? But let's say we have the condition that if we have the, let's say, data in our email message, then only we want to send the email, right? Let's say that we are sending this monthly email, monthly billing email to the customers, and then the monthly billing email, that the monthly bill amount that is coming, let's say from maybe from a date extension. Write that for this customer, what is the amount? Now for some reason that amount is missing before some customer. It is missing, right? It is not coming from the date extension. But in that case, what we want to do, we don't want to send the email to customer, right? Instead of sending the wrong email, we will prefer that not sending the email to the customer. In that case, we will use the razor function. What it will do, it will prevent the email from being sent to that customer. We can use it with the if and else condition. Let's say we have a one condition over here, that we are using the claim row function over here, right? That if we have the coupon, then well and good. We will use the claim row function, field function and everything, and we will get the coupon. But if we do not have the coupon, then we'll basically run this reserve function, and then what it will do, it will basically prevent the email from being sent, and the email will not be sent to the customer. In any scenario where you think that we don't want to send the email all the time, but it should be based on some condition, that if this happens, then only we want to send the email, and if that doesn't happen, that we do not want to send the email. In the real projects, you will face such scenarios where, let's say, the data is dynamic, right? If we have the data, then only we will send the email, otherwise we will not. In that case, you can use this raise error function. Let me show you. It will raise the error like this. This is the error that we are able to see over here. Right, that no coupons available at the time of the preview. But even you will send the email, like it will not send the email to the customer since the error occurred. That is your raise error function. This one more function, that is your get. Get function returns a unique number every time you execute it. That is for the unique identification. I mean, you might want to use this when you are assigning a unique number. Let me hide that code for let me comment that code first. This whatever. This this will not require any input, and this will just return a unique number. And whatever the unique number that is written, we are saving this in this variable and we are printing that variable. Let's go to preview and test. Here it is a unique number that is written by this function. Now let's say again, I'll run this function, it will return a different number. It is returning a different string. It is the different from the previous one. Let's say if you want to assign maybe a unique key to a customer. Or let's say if you have created this cloud page, right, and you are getting the customer's feedback, and what you want to do, that for each customer you want to have a feedback number, but that feedback number should be unique. What you can do whenever the customer is submitting the feedback, you can have this get is a feedback. I mean unique feedback number whenever they submit it. Whenever they will submit you will basically run this gavid and save this unique number and that extension as a unique feedback add other functions. I think we have covered most of the functions in the AMPscript. There are a few more functions like insert and update and all those functions. Today we have actually less time, but let's see if we can utilize this time. Let's talk about at least one function today, and then we'll talk about other functions, maybe into most class. Let's go to Cloud Pages View. We have to write the functions. Let's get a new landing page, and here we'll be learning about the functions. Let's talk about the theory first, and then we'll go to the practical. We have seen that how we can retrieve the data from the data extension, right? But there are other operations that we can perform on the data extension. Like we can insert the data, we can update the data, or we can also delete the records from the data extension. Now for that, we have 8 different functions. The first function is InsertDE to insert the data, UpdateDE to update the data, Upsert means it can also insert the data and also update the data. Deleted means it can also delete the data. Now you can see the similar functions, but the only difference is that DE has been replaced with data. We have InsertDE to UpdateDE to, UpdateDE to UpdateDE to DeleteDE to. Now these four functions, and these four functions work exactly the same. This function is also used to insert the data in the data extension. Also, the syntax is exactly the same. Everything is exactly the same except one thing. There's only one difference, that like where we can run these functions. InsertDE like it ends with eWrite. These four functions will only work with the email messages, and these four functions will work with the cloud pages. That is the first difference between these two, that these four functions will only work with the email message and these functions will work with the cloud pages. Now, another difference is that these four functions, like the other function that we are running, whatever happens is that we can execute these functions at the previous one, right? We write the function with the email preview and we can run the function. But these four functions will not be executed at the preview time. This will only be executed whenever you send the email. You draft the email and you save the email and everything. And when you will send the email, then only these functions will work. What we will do? We'll basically not go through these functions because for this we have to send the email again and again every time. We'll be going through these four functions as the syntax and everything will remain same. It is just that we are running these functions at the cloud pages instead of the email message. These are the difference between these four and these four functions. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.